Yeah, I know. A Defense of Loki? That's a bold title. From whom am I defending a show with a 92% score on Rotten Tomatoes? Everyone loves Loki. Yeah, okay, I know, Loki's reception has been pretty much universally positive, from the MCU fanbase, critics, and general public alike. But I do mean pretty much universally positive, not entirely, because there's a catch. Since the finale of Season 1, For All Time Always, aired a few weeks back, I've seen cracks in this positivity, heard murmurings of discontent, comments on YouTube, posts on Reddits, even from friends who watched the show, and amongst all of these, the same complaint has cropped up again and again. The charge? The Loki finale wasn't the Loki finale. It was an episode of Phase 4 setup. Our main characters are sidelined, and their arcs are not resolved, and the show's plot was sidestepped by the reveal that the big bad of Loki was some random guy we'd not seen before. As I've said, I've heard this general idea a few times now, and it's likely you have too. You might even be of the same opinion, but if you are, I'm going to try and change that. So, what are the charges? The most common complaints seem to be A. The villain reveal comes out of nowhere. B. It leads to an abandoning of our main characters, and C. It's just set up. These are all linked, of course, but let's try to take them on one by one. First, the villain reveal. The issue people seem to be having is that Jonathan Major's character, who we'll be calling He Who Remains, comes out of nowhere, and that the series would have been more satisfying had the final villain been someone we'd known about before. But in many ways, this is the case. Even back in episode 1, the man behind the curtain trope is teased. Of course, initially, it's the Timekeepers, who are, of course, later revealed as fake. But this Timekeepers reveal really doesn't change much. Before and after, the series' antagonist role is very similar, the mysterious founder or founders of the TVA who operate in the shadows and seem to control time. Before episode 4, this role is played by the Timekeepers, and after episode 4's reveal, this mantle simply shifts to the unnamed, unknown being behind the Timekeeper ruse, the being we later discover to be He Who Remains. We've known someone existed at the top, behind the curtain, pulling the strings. It's just that until episode 6 we haven't known their identity. It's a revelation. You might even call a lot of his introduction exposition. But it hardly comes out of nowhere. And it makes perfect sense. All the information we then get as to He Who Remains' backstory and his reasons for setting up this grand system explain questions we've been presented throughout the series. The best example being, what happened in the multiversal war referenced in episode 1? Well, now we know. And it ties in perfectly to He Who Remains, his character and his backstory. Stories end with twist reveals of the secret big bad all the time. Just look at the Thanos reveal in Avengers. We find out that he sent Loki to attack Earth. He was behind all of this. The difference is, in Loki, the reveal ties together narrative breadcrumbs that were scattered all through the previous episodes. It's not even really a twist, it's just new information being given at the end of a story to contextualize what's come before. Now then, second complaint. I've heard accusations that, from a character perspective, the finale focuses too much on He Who Remains, and our two leads, Loki and Sylvie, are given short shrift. And okay, yes, it's true that there's maybe less of the episode directly dedicated to just them and dialogue between them than, say, the Lamentis episode, but while they take something of a passive role for the first half of the episode, I don't understand how anyone can watch the different ways Loki and Sylvie react to He Who Remains' offer, their fight, and Sylvie's ultimate choice, and feel that episode 6 abandoned these characters. These characters complete their season arcs here. Loki finally abandons his various facades, and for once chooses to act honestly and openly towards Sylvie. He's forced to literally confront a version of himself, a version that he doesn't know if he can trust. He trusts her anyway, and in a moment of supreme vulnerability, he's honest with Sylvie about his feelings, the payoff to another series-long arc, their romance. And then this trust is betrayed, and in a twist of tragic irony, Loki now knows exactly how everyone he's ever betrayed has felt. Loki's changed so much, and that's not even touching the newfound terror we see on him in the final sequence in the alternate TVA. It's the same with Sylvie. The dues get paid and her arc is completed, her quest to take down the TVA. She finally reaches her goal, but pays a heavy price. A quintessential step of any hero's journey. She makes a choice which defines her character. This version of Loki is thus revealed to be dedicated to the goal she sees as noble above all else, even if it means morally compromising herself, betraying Loki and killing He Who Remains. Justified maybe, but isn't that exactly what He Who Remains had been telling himself about his interdimensional mass chronicide? I made that word up. But yeah, thought-provoking stuff, this, and the whole episode is, and it's rooted in some pretty hefty character work, which pays off existing arcs and sets them up in some really interesting places going forward. Which brings us to Charge the Third, that this episode is just set up for the MCU's future. Except, no it isn't. Sure, some of the episode's ramifications will likely come to bear on future Marvel projects. Look no further than What If, coming out like next week as I record this, but I hope what I've said so far has made you agree that this isn't all the episode is, far from it. There's so much resolution for Loki's previous 5 episodes and so much more to the episodes besides. Some of this will be relevant in the future to other properties. Okay, sure, but you could say the same about Iron Man 1. It sets up S.H.I.E.L.D. and Fury, sets up the Ten Rings, blah blah blah. No one's holding that against it. And let's not forget, Loki's renewed for a second season. We're left on a cliffhanger directly resulting from the very stuff that people are seeing as future MCU setup. Well, we don't know that. Plenty of it might just be set up for Loki Season 2. Clearly it's going to have a great deal of impact on the second season story. Maybe it'll go further than that. It probably will, but that future projects will use elements set up by this isn't really a problem with the episode or the show. It's just a thing, neither good nor bad. Now, there are questions left unanswered in Loki, like the ways it doesn't seem to line up perfectly with Endgame's time travel rules and intriguing implications that follow thereafter. I can talk about those another time if anyone actually watches this. Honestly, it's my first time writing, recording, and producing YouTube content, so if the algorithm has somehow cast this your way through the infinite ether of YouTube, then please let me know down below if you like it, if you want to see more. Or even if you didn't, if you thought it was dreadful, that's helpful too. I'll know if it's worth trying my hand at any more of this. So yeah, if there is anyone watching this, thanks for watching. And who knows, maybe I'll see you again.